Hey guys, this is Pram bringing you the top 16 of the Maryland State Championships. On our left we have Bryan using a Landorus deck, and on our right we have Alex using seems like a Buffalont. So let's see what these players are dishing out. Alex gets to go first, and he plays down a Dusknoir with a Stunfisk. So basically, what his deck is trying to do is just spread a lot of damage on the field. Probably going to use a Landorus in there too, and eventually just take knockouts with Dusknoir. It's a pretty neat strategy, but we'll see how that works out against Bryan's Landorus deck, and it just really depends on what he can do against that. So we do see an Eviolite and a Fighting come down onto the Stunfisk. And that's just going to get in there for 20. We'll see what Bryan has in store for us. Do see a Rocky Helmet. That's going to put some pressure back onto Alex. He's not going to be able to really do much against that. And Energy Search for Fighting. So we do see a Garbador deck in Bryan. So his deck is Landorus Garbador. And that's going to be quite a pain for Alex. Basically, once the Garbador hits the field, if Alex doesn't have Tool Scrapper, well, things could be some bad news bears for Alex. We'll see if Bryan has anything to follow this up with. So he has a couple supporters, catcher. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. He has a Verbank and a Max Potion. So he's going to catch her out the Buffalont, just get 40 damage onto the field, and we should see a Skyla coming in here, maybe for a Hypnotoxic Laser. He's kind of eyeing that option with the Verbank, but we'll see what he goes with. He might get a supporter, just to get himself a better draw, but no, he's going to go for the Laser here. And this is this is nice because if Alex doesn't have another switch, Hammerhead's going to do 40 damage to the Buffalont. The Laser does another 30, and then at the end of Alex's turn, the Buffalont will be knocked out by Laser Verbank. So if he does it here, he'll knock out the Buffalont, and he can get 30 damage on that Dusknoir before it becomes a real threat. So we see the Laser come down and the Verbank. So here we go, 30 onto the Dusknoir and 70 onto the Buffalont. A very strong turn one. So let's see if Alex can respond. He needs a switch or something to get out of this. And he's going to need a Rare Candy Dusknoir, or at least a Dusclops. So we see an Ultra Ball come down. Gets rid of a Dusknoir and a Verbank. So that signals to me that he has a Dusclops online, or at least can get a Dusclops or Dusknoir. Gets the Dusclops here, and so the Dusknoir line is it's kind of safe for now. Still no Trubbish though for Bryan's field. His hand really couldn't do much with it, but he got that Laser into the field, and he has another Skyla for next turn, so he'll be okay. But if his opponent goes Laser of his own, then we could see some an issue. So here we go, Bianca. He's really going to need that switch. Get out of the active spot with the Buffalont. And does he get it? It's the big question here. Does he hit the switch? Really get in there with the Stunfisk. Maybe do the Stunfisk's second attack. Get some extra damage in. Even though you take 20... it's not too big of a deal. You do have an Eviolite on your Stunfisk, but it looks like he doesn't get it, and he just has to pass. So, good moves by Bryan here. Really just putting on the pressure. Draws an N, so he's definitely going to want to play that here, unless he wants the Skyla first for maybe like a level ball. Get the Trubbish out into play if he wants, or he could just Skyla for another Laser. Just see how it works out. But he has a couple options here: Skyla or N, and I think the Skyla is a good play here. I like it to maybe search out for Trubbish. I like it to maybe get maybe an energy search or a laser or something. But we'll see what he ends up deciding to go with. Looks like he goes with the level ball and for the Trubbish. So good moves all around from Bryan. He'll definitely be in good shape. We do see a Hammerhead come down, only doing 10 damage to the Stunfisk because of the Eviolite on the Stunfisk. But he gets another 30 onto the Dusknoir, so really putting pressure there. And Landorus is just kind of rolling on through this field so far. We'll see if Alex can do anything in response. You know, he knows his opponent does have a supporter because he did Skyla for a level ball. So he knows his opponent is in good position here. So let's see how he can respond to this. That Landorus is getting very scary as each turn goes by. A catcher here for like an energy and then moving the 2 damage counters off Landorus wouldn't be so bad either. It just depends on what he wants to do. We do see another Ultra Ball come down. And what do you get here? Do you get Landorus? Do you just get a Landorus of your own? Maybe. He gets a Terrakion. So, all kinds of interesting stuff coming out of Alex's deck. And he ends. He's just really... He just kind of looked at his hand, was just like, I guess I gotta do it. And then he just end. At this point, I guess you could... You can't even attack the Landorus without taking a one-shot from a non-discard land judgment. So, yeah, I guess you can just go all in against the Stunfisk. Or with the Stunfisk. Get 20 damage on there, maybe. He really needs a laser, is what he really needs. Maybe power up the Terrakion. Wouldn't be too bad. Reading how Rocky Helmet works. And yeah, we should... It really just comes down... Okay, so he gets the catcher. If he still does 20-20, but I guess Rocky Helmet really only works on the active. I thought it worked on the bench too, but guess not. So we do see we see a laser in his hand, a Skyla. He'll be in pretty decent shape. He's gonna laser here. Get the tails. He's gonna Tool Scrapper, and then Juniper here. I was thinking we might see like a Skyla for Switch. Wouldn't have been bad, but guess not. You know, with the Tool Scrapper, right, you Skyla for Switch, you get another Hammerhead in. Sure, you don't get to attack, but you get the extra unblocked damage in, and you can put that Dusknoir at 90 damage, and really just bring it closer to destroying it. He does get an energy to retreat with, so I guess all in all, it's about the same. And he gets a heavy ball here. Probably going to get a Garbador. Does he have a tool to go with it? It's the real question. If he does, he'll be like in unbeatable shape against this Dusknoir deck. If the Dusknoir deck doesn't run Tool Scrapper. So it really just comes down to that. It just really just comes down to, can I get rid of the Garbador's ability? If not, then I probably lose. If I do, then great. So we're really just seeing what happens here. We're going to see a Hammerhead, and he might put 30 on the Terrakion because he's not worried about the Dusknoir anymore. The Dusknoir is not a threat with Garbador. Sure, it's a threat right now because there's no tool on Garbador, but later on, it might not matter. So it's good that he evolved here, even without the tool. Because of Dusknoir's ability, he could have just moved all the damage onto the Trubbish and just knocked it out. And that would have been quite bad. So we do see 2 energies hit the Terrakion and an N. And what can we Alex really do here? I guess he's going to need another catcher, a defensive catcher, but he's also going to need to get that Stunfisk out of the active spot. A hypnotoxic laser has really just been a factor in this game, big one. So we'll see what he can do against this. He really needs a laser of his own, is what he really needs. That N will help him, but it also just refills Bryan's hand. So we do see a laser finally come down for Alex, and it's a Tails. But on the bright side, the Landorus is now poisoned. At this point, you might as well get in the extra 20 damage that you're gonna have to do anyways, because your guys are just gonna get knocked out. So you might as well just put extra damage on the field. Maybe put 20 onto the other Landorus. Seems good. Just in case your Dusknoir stops working. But yeah. So that's what he ends up doing. Sends up another Stunfisk, and now Bryan is up 2 prizes. Thanks to laser, really. So Bryan does hit another laser. He has a tool. He has a couple tools, really. Switch. His hand's pretty good right now. You might want to switch into another Landorus. Put a tool onto the Garbador. Yep. There we go. And now he can just sit back, Hammerhead all day, and he'll be in good shape. So we do see a Skyla. Maybe he goes after a catcher. Not really sure what he's going to go for. He goes for the max potion. He's just looking to heal off the 90 damage. If Alex gets a catcher, a switch, and an energy, he can just one-shot this Landorus. So we do see a max potion come down. The damage hasn't left the field yet, but it might eventually. Oh, there we go. So there's the max potion heal. And Bryan really just saying, hey, you probably don't run Tool Scrapper with all these tools on the field. And we're just going to see a Hammerhead, probably with a laser, just so... Yep, there it is. Just to get extra damage on the field. And now that Terrakion is in pretty dangerous territory. So let's see if Alex can really just maneuver his way around this. All his Dusknoir's been turned off. That 90 damage Landorus just got max potioned. So everything is going kind of wrong for Alex here. We do see a catcher onto the Garbador. And does he have a switch? Juniper's digging deep. Does he have switch to go with this? Is the big question. And based off of the slow reaction, maybe not. Maybe he just missed it. So what's going to happen here is Bryan's just going to sit back, relax, take more prizes, and really just pull very ahead in this situation. Especially if he gets a switch of his own, it will be huge. Leaving the Garbador active is one of the big big weaknesses for the Garbador deck. It just has so much retreat. It's so hard to get it out. But, with this, not so much. It's actually pretty okay. We do see a laser come down on the Garbador. Really just hoping Bryan can't switch out. So here we go. Probably going to see a pass soon. he already attached and everything. Without a switch, there's really nothing he can do here. And if he had a switch, he would have saved the laser. So, yep, we're just gonna wait for a pass. And that Stunfisk is not long for this world. Well, technically he's still long for this world, but he's not gonna be. He's just gonna be knocked out. So we'll see how that works out. And yeah, just waiting for the turn to pass over to Bryan, and then we'll be on our way. You know, Alex checking all his options, checking how many lasers have been used, how many switches have been used, things like that. So, you know, checking how many supporters have been used, and he's just really trying to find a way back into this game. But this is a brutal matchup if you think about it. You know, he spends so many slots on Dusknoir, and he has like cards like Stunfisk and Terrakion that he actually just has. He really can't do much versus a Landorus and a Garbador. Like if you think about it, it just doesn't. He just kind of gets hammered head out of the game almost. For 1 energy, max potions, yeah, and Bryan eating a donut. So here we go, laser damage coming into effect. Bryan draws his card. Well, we'll draw. There we go. Max potion. Not a bad card to draw, but he's not going to use it on the Garbador. That would be a little silly. But does he have a... Unless he has a switch. He does not. He just has a laser and a max potion. So really what he's going to just do here is he's just going to pass. Sure, the Garbador is going to go down. But what can you do? You can't really do anything about that. Even if you max potion here, Land Crush just comes in. So, yep. I'm just going to pass, take an extra prize, and hopefully not get end. Well, I suppose your opponent wouldn't end you when you didn't do anything that turn. So now we're just going to see any kind of attack come out of the Terrakion. He really needs to set up another attacker though. The Terrakion will be around for like 1 turn of attacks, but with the laser coming in, it could get brutal. I think Alex has an escape rope in his hand, but he really needs to not use it. Maybe you don't even. I guess you would just not even. You don't even attack in the situation. You actually just pass, because that way Rescue Scarf doesn't activate. All that. So yeah, I think you can. If you can just power up some other attacker. Maybe the Mewtwo. Maybe if you have another Terrakion in your hand. Maybe a Landorus. He goes for the Scramble switch. Odd play. It looks like he's going for an X-Ball. Or maybe he'll just send up the Mewtwo and just pass. He looks like he just passes here. No, he looks like he X-Balls. Weird play. I guess he just doesn't realize how Rescue Scarf and Poison works together. Not really sure what just happened. But yeah, that's the world we're in right now. So here we go. Laser coming in, gets to the heads, and that Mewtwo is now asleep. He's going to be taking hammerhead damage. He has another Trubbish in the play. Maybe, yeah, I guess you could focus. You could put some more damage onto, or more energy onto the Landorus, and then play down Trubbish. Or you could just go Terrakion versus the world, or Landorus versus the world, which is fine too. That's what he's going with. He doesn't have a tool to go with the the Garbador, so he's just really holding them back, and he's just putting damage onto the Terrakion. So Mewtwo goes to 4, Terrakion goes to 9, and that Scramble switch that could have been in Alex's hand is no longer available for this laser. Let's see if Mewtwo wakes up. And it does. So, not too bad. He woke up, which is the important part. But that Mewtwo is in a very tough spot here. Plus, any damage that Alex does could get Max Potioned. So if it gets too dangerous, Max Potion will come in. We do see an Ultra Ball getting rid of some Dusknoir. Dusknoir parts. Maybe finally he gets a Mewtwo. So, with 3 prizes on Alex's field, it's going to be tough. I mean, all he has to do is just attack this active Mewtwo, Hammerhead to the Terrakion, and Poison will get him eventually. So, if Alex really just needs a Max Potion if he runs it. So we do see a Super Rod. It looks like he just wants to get energies at this point. And he gets an Energy, Bouffalant, and Stunfisk. You never know when you'll need the Stunfisk again. Really an MVP card of our first regional of the year. But now it's a little weaker. So we do see a Laser come down. And he gets a Tails. And a Juniper. So digging deep. What will he get? He looks like he drew another Stunfisk. His deck's pretty small, so it might have been the same Stunfisk he just put in. Looks like he might have energy too, so he might want to attach to the benched Mewtwo. Yep, there we go. Now, another thing he could have done was retreated for the Terrakion and attached to the Terrakion and just did 90 with Terrakion, right? Even though you go to 110 damage, they still have to Hammerhead you. You put 90 on their field, and then maybe you can start X-balling. The Rocky Helmets are really what's gonna tip this matchup in Bryan's favor significantly. There's not much he can do. Sure, he can X-ball here. Takes the extra 20 from Rocky Helmet and takes another 3 from Laser. But, yeah. We see another level ball come in. Really just in the deck out at this point. And I guess it would be best to Max Potion here. Well, this is a tough one. If you Max Potion, you survive, but you're still poisoned. But you can just take the prizes. And that's what he's opting to do. He's just going to take prizes, knock out this Mewtwo, go down to 1. Now, the weird, awkward part here is Alex could still win. How about that? So Alex, what he needs to do here, attach the Mewtwo and play N if he can, and then just pass. That's all you need to do. And at that point, all you do is you just go Mewtwo all day, every day. He actually should have attached the Prism, to be honest. Maybe get 2 prisms on the Mewtwo, like get in there for next turn, get in there for 60 and then 120, 2-shot Landorus. But maybe he can still get it. He will be drawing 5 off this end that he does have, so Bryan might lose here just by bench out. It really just depends on what Bryan's one card is going to be. This Landorus is going to get knocked out by poison, and Alex is just going to have a fresh Mewtwo. He's going to have a good amount of stuff, so it really just comes down to this one card from Bryan. Does he have what he needs? Yeah, N and Laser are really just 2 cards that define the format. and such a powerful supporter for comebacks. Laser just does a ton of damage. An unreasonably high amount of damage, really. But this is what we're looking at. He Ultra Balls here. He's going to want to thin his deck out. I'm not sure why he doesn't grab a Pokemon here. I can't imagine any draw he could get that would want him to not get a Pokemon out of the deck. Unless it was Juniper, but in which case you don't want to play down Pokemon anyways. So here we go. He gets a Fighting Energy and he has a Juniper. So really the best 2 cards Bryan could ask for. And at this point, if he draws his Laser, his 4th Laser and Catcher, then the game is pretty much over. We do see another Landorus coming down for Bryan, probably. Yep, there it is. He has Catcher too. Can't really see this game not ending up in Bryan's win unless Alex has another. He has to have an N right here, and it has to be with no, actually, I don't think he can win here at any point unless he had Max Potion. That would have been the only way. Yeah, unfortunate for Alex that it ended up the way it did. But I don't think there's anything he can do to avoid this onslaught of damage. Sure, he could play down Shaman, which is cool. Does he have Energy Switch? Does he have Energy Switch? Doesn't even laser. He actually could have lasered for a sleep check. And maybe actually... Wow, if he had Energy Switch here, he may have been able to win. Unfortunately, he does not, so Bryan's just like confused and just gonna Hammerhead, knock out the Terrakion. Actually, if Alex had flipped for laser, gotten the heads, and then Bryan gets a tails, then maybe the game ends up differently. Weird how that worked out, I guess. So here we go. They're going to just shuffle up for game 2. And yeah, Alex, interesting deck. But this is a bad matchup for him. He knows it. Bryan knows it. Once Garbador hits the field, you're just kind of like groaning. You're just like, oh, this is so much damage. Another thing that it looked like Alex forgot to kept using was Dusknoir at the end. He could have moved a damage counter off if he wanted to. He could have maybe moved all the damage onto the bench Landorus. Yeah, he could have actually moved a bunch of damage to the bench Landorus. If he he had moved for 7 damage counters, or to the not 7, 4. Yeah, 5 damage counters over to the bench Landorus, and if he attached the Prism, and if he had another Prism in his hand, no, actually, yeah, the way Alex probably should have won that game, and the reason is because if the Landorus is poisoned and he has Dusknoir in play. If he moves the damage off of Dusknoir onto, or off of the Landorus active onto the bench Landorus, and then X-Ball for 40 plus 30 for laser, so he could have moved off 5 damage. Or is it 5? Might have been 5. Actually, you could have moved off more and just hoped for no retreats. No retreat or poison. And then at that point, you're good. Yeah. I actually think Alex should have won that game because of Dusknoir. But, yeah, oh well. Maybe... Well, we'll see if Alex can pull back game 2. So... Here we go, laser, and it's a tails. But still a good opening. Well, I guess it's a okay opening. He really wants to hit the Verbank here. Well, maybe he not, but he really needs to get another active. Because if Bryan just happens to draw Laser, Verbank, and Energy, and Alex doesn't get another active, well, the game's over. So, we'll see how this end works out. Both players drawing 6. And here we go. Does Alex get another basic? Does Bryan have a way to knock out this Dusknoir? Both questions we're looking forward to. Looks like Alex doesn't get another basic, so he will be able to survive this for a little longer. What will Alex do? What will he get? Maybe, well, we know he doesn't play Landorus. He gets rid of the Shaman. And do you get another Dusknoir? What do you get here? Terrakion? Mewtwo? Do you just go Mewtwo all day, every day? It almost worked out for him last time, so maybe that's the way he wants to go. Goes Mewtwo. All day, every day. X-Ball, X-Ball, X-Ball. So, yeah. He doesn't have... Does he not have energy? He does. He has a DCE here. And he has a Scramble Switch. And a Juniper in his hand. So he's just going to X-Ball for 5 damage counters. 10 because of the poison. So, yeah, things are working well. Scramble Switch, pretty good card. And the pressure is on to the Landorus. Let's see, if he Verbanked here, would that matter? Well, the Landorus would go to 80, take 110, go to 110 at the end of the poison. Alex would have to attach another energy to knock out this Landorus, so I do not think Bryan wants to play Verbank down. He's really just using this catcher to really buy some time. Maybe Alex doesn't have a switch. Oh, Bryan has a switch of his own. And we're just going to see a Hammerhead get some damage on the field. Now, does Alex have a switch or an energy of his own? Maybe. He Junipers. I don't know what the other card he Junipered away. Hope it wasn't a switch. That would be quite depressing if it was. And we do see a retreat. And we're just going to see an X-Ball for 60 here, unless Alex has a laser. But it doesn't look like he does. So, here we go. Terrakion hits the field. We see another laser come down. Heads would be pretty big here. But it is a heads, yes. So, pretty big turn here. We just see we see an X-Ball for 70 here. And a wake up. If he had stayed asleep, could have been very big. Another catcher in Bryan's hand. He has an energy switch, Junipers, an N. So, a good amount of options for Bryan. He can really just do whatever he wants. He's going to catcher up the Dusknoir. Energy switch, probably. Nope, he's going to choose to not attach for now and just draw an energy card off this. We see a Scramble Switch, Trubbish, Verbank, and a Fighting Energy at the end of this. So, Trubbish coming down, Landorus number 3 coming down, and maybe a Scramble Switch coming down. Wouldn't be bad, actually. But no, he's going to opt to just attack. He knows Verbank isn't in play. So, he's not really taking a threatening amount of damage. But, maybe a switch in DCE can make the difference. However, that Mewtwo is steadily getting more and more dangerous. So, he attaches a Prism Energy to the Terrakion. And the one thing that's in Bryan's deck that's going to be very dangerous for Alex is the Max Potion. Once Max Potion hits the field, all of that damage on Bryan's field just goes away. So we do see a Skyla. What's he get here? Maybe he gets a heavy ball for the Dusknoir or Dusknoir. Maybe he gets a switch. A few things he could get. It's really gets a Juniper. So just kind of signaling that he doesn't really have much in his hand. He might even just pass here, depending. Doesn't have the. He didn't attach. He already attached energy. The Dusclops could go down right here, in which case Bryan will be in great shape. So he just just passes, and Landorus goes to 9. He has a Max Potion, Verbank, Scramble Switch. He has a lot. Does he even has a Juniper for it? So he Junipers, and really almost a perfect turn for Bryan here. He can get a Garbador out, even though he doesn't really need it. I would just leave it as a Trubbish for now. Yeah, just attach Tool to Landorus. He's kind of catcher out the catchers out the Mewtwo, but that'll be fine because he has a laser. So laser will knock out the Mewtwo once Landorus comes in for damage. We do see a level ball come in and a heavy ball. Really just thinning out the deck. There's nothing much Alex can really do here. He's going to lose this Mewtwo to poison even, so the Terrakion will not be doing extra damage. If he retaliates, it will only do 30 damage, which, quite frankly, is why a lot of these on knockout effects are not very strong at the moment. You know, you can really avoid those cards with poison damage, which is so big right now. Poison, Verbank, so strong, and it's very hard to play around. Well, not that it's hard. You have to have a specific set of cards. Like Keldeo is a good option. Force Switch is a good option. Scramble Switch is solid. All these cards are just made to really try to hinder how much damage Hypnotoxic Laser does. So here we go. What will Alex do? He super rotted some cards in. He has a Juniper in his hand. He has a catcher. He goes for the catcher, and he's gonna catcher here, or he's gonna Juniper here. Gets another energy card, so he can retaliate for 30 if he so chooses, and that would be fine. He really wants to get a Dusknoir in play, just so he will not lose another Pokemon to a Hammerhead attack. So what will... There's the Dusknoir. And now that 5 damage, it can go really anywhere. However, only anywhere for this turn, as Bryan could just put down a Garbador. Moves the 5 damage over to the 3 energy Landorus and Ultra Balls here. Maybe gets another Terrakion. Gets a Mewtwo. That Mewtwo going to come in for a lot of damage. And yeah, we're just going to see a retaliate for 30. A little, doesn't do too much. So yep, there it is. So does Bryan have a Garbador and a Tool? He has a Tool Scrapper. plays on another Landorus, has a laser to go with this, Tails, and has a Juniper, so he's just going to Juniper here. Yep, there it is. And does he get a tool to go with this? He has a switch. Not bad. No tool though. So Dusknoir will be online for one more turn. If he can attach here, do 30-30, or he can switch and just do 150 to the Terrakion. Wouldn't be particularly bad either. Looks like we're going to have a switch here, just based on the energy attachment. Yep, there it is. Does he do 80, or does he do 150, or does he just hammerhead? Decisions, decisions, decisions. Personally, I think just you have to one-shot this Terrakion, because this Terrakion, well, you could get another energy, a laser, a bunch of nasty things can happen. Plus you get rid of their energies, and Alex's deck is a 1 energy per turn deck, just like yours. So just being up on energy is a big thing. We did see Alex draw a Shaman. Could do something, maybe later. But these Landoruses are pretty fierce. They just do so much damage. And the laser is in Bryan's hand, just ready to go. We see a Shaman and a Colress. So Colress for 6 here. Pretty solid number. And Colress is one of those cards where I think it's kind of risky. Obviously, the later the game goes, the better it is. But early game, Colress is a very scary card to play. Because sometimes, you're only Colressing for like 3, and you're just hoping for the best. If you play Tropical Beach, that's a different story. Then it's not that bad. But for here, it's a little scary. So it's probably that looked like a Tails, has no card, has shifted positions on the laser. But yeah. Oh, they're re-rolling. Here it is, heads. And a pass. So that Landorus is now at 80. Let's see if it wakes up or not. It does wake up. So, pretty good for it to wake up here. And does Max Potion off the top of the deck. So everything just going right for Bryan. Things are just falling apart for Alex. You really just can't catch a break. And at this point, I think you just shuffle in 3 fighting energy with that Super Rod. Yeah, just get the energies back, and you'll be good to go. He has an N that he may or may not want to play. He has a bunch of energies in his hand, so what he might want to do is just attach energy to the Landorus and then just kind of go at it. Sure, you're up against Mewtwo, but that's not a big deal. Plus, there's still 60 damage on that Dusknoir, so any hammerhead damage you can add up is not too bad. Maybe in 3 turns you'll end up knocking out that Dusknoir with a bunch of damage hammerhead. So, could be good. Plus he has laser. As long as Alex doesn't have a switch or a DC or anything to switch out, he'll be fine. I kind of like hammerhead laser. Put the Mewtwo at 6, put the Dusknoir at 9. Maybe put the 10 on the Shaman. Depends on how that math works out. But it doesn't work out well unless you have 3 energy on a Landorus anyways. In which case you just one-shot it. But puts 3 and he puts 10 on the Shaman. Eviolite comes down, and so does Bianca. Draws some switch, DCE. So he's moseying on through. Do you switch and attack with Shaman for, how much is it? 30, 60, 90, 110? Or 120? Yeah, it's 120 right now. Plus the laser. Yeah, that'll be a knockout. So, Shaman coming in for big damage here. He will go to 3 damage counters, but Hammerhead actually cannot do damage versus Shaman at the moment. So this is, the Shaman could do a lot of damage. Here we go. Garbador comes up, gets the tool on the Garbador. Laser heads, probably just attaches to the 2 energy Landorus and then ends. Yeah. So now if Bryan can draw a switch and if Alex cannot get out of this, laser in a Landorus hit will destroy this Shaman. And a funny turn of events. That's how this happened. Plus, the damage cannot be moved over off that Landorus that has 3 because of Garbotoxin. And now we just see a pass and a sleep check. Does he wake up? Does he wake up? That is the question. And here we go. Another attempt on the sleep check as it keeps going off the table. Here we go again. And finally it's a heads. So he wakes up. What do you do here if you're Alex? Do you just switch or do you retreat into Mewtwo? Maybe. He ends. Didn't have anything. He might have considered playing down one of those Stunfisk and then just doing 20, 20, 20, 20 over and over and over. Build up a ton of damage and then come in with Shaman. But what he's going to have to deal with is that Landorus with the energies on it. It can get very dangerous very quickly. So here we go. How do these players draw off their ends? I think I saw a escape rope in Bryan's hand. Not too sure. We do see a DCE on Mewtwo. Yep, there. Oh no, it's a Hrbacek. So catchers up the Landorus and then lasers it, and this will knock out the Landorus. And now Shaman goes up to 9. He actually just healed it by 3 for some reason, but it should be at 9. Every time he looks for the 9 side on the 6-sided die, but to no luck. Actually, he doesn't even need to. He can attach there, but he doesn't need to do anything with it because a pass will just knock out the Shaman, and which is really what he wants to do. So we do see another N, really just locking down the game for Bryan. He has 3 energies on this Landorus. He can knock out anything as long as Alex cannot. Bryan just draws 3 energy cards, passes, or he hammerheads, puts more damage on the Mewtwo, might as well. And Alex just has to win now almost. Sure, he can. He X-balls. Nothing he can do. And Landorus is going to finish this up. 150 to the Mewtwo. Knockout. And Bryan wins 2-0 against Alex's Dusknoir deck. Well, pretty interesting game, I guess. And we'll see you guys in the top 8.